AI is often described as a second brain, but a second brain can either replace your thinking or refine it. And that difference matters because if it replaces your thinking, you slowly stop doing the hard work of forming ideas. But if it refines your thinking, it can actually sharpen you. And that's the line I've been wrestling with. Not whether AI is good or bad, but whether we're using it to think more or think less. And that's what I want to talk about today. Today, I want to go deeper than prompts. Not how to get AI to write something, not how to get better outputs, but how to use AI as a thought partner. Because that's where this tool becomes powerful, and that's also where it can quietly undermine thinking, if we're not intentional. Right now, I see students using AI in a few predictable ways. First, instead of Google, they don't search and sift through sources anymore. They just ask ChatGPT or Gemini directly. That's efficient, that's concise, that's not inherently wrong. Second, they copy and paste the entire assignment prompt. Write this essay, answer this question, summarize this chapter, and they submit whatever comes back. That's transactional, that's outsourcing, and that's where I start to worry. Recently, I gave a short reflection, about 5 minutes, 10 at the most. 14 students turned it in, 10 used AI. Now, I hadn't said, don't use AI, so this wasn't about rule breaking. What bothered me wasn't dishonesty, it was this. When I asked, what was this about? Why did you take that position? Explain your reasoning. They couldn't. They didn't offload grammar. They offloaded the struggle. And the struggle is where thinking grows. That's what concerns me, not the tool, the absence of intellectual ownership. But I've also seen something very different. I watched a student use AI to help code part of a game. There's a phrase floating around now called vibe coding, where you use AI to generate the code quickly and then refine it. This student didn't understand every single line of code, but they understood the game, they understood what they wanted to do, and they knew that when something wasn't working, they adjusted, they iterated, they spent hours refining it. AI handled the mechanical syntax. The student handled the direction, the vision, the judgment. That's collaboration. Same tool, very different posture. And that's when it clicked to me. The issue isn't AI, it's ownership. A thought partner doesn't replace your thinking. A thought partner stretches it, pushes it, clarifies it, exposes blind spots, help you articulate what you actually believe. And AI can do that if we use it that way. If you ask AI, is this a good idea? It will almost always say yes. It's trained to be helpful, polite, encouraging. So instead of asking for validation, ask for friction. If you want AI to function as a thought partner, try prompts like challenge this idea, play devil's advocate, what blind spots might I have? Assume this fails, why? What objections would someone raise? Ask me 5 clarifying questions before responding. Now you're not outsourcing, you're thinking, you're sharpening it. This episode exists because I needed to wrestle with this idea myself. I see AI as one of my favorite tools for thinking, but I wanted to be clear on why, so I pushed on it. I asked AI to challenge my assumptions, to anticipate objections teacher might raise, to point out weaknesses in my reasoning, not to applaud me, to stress test me. Let me tell you a story about some professional development I gave to a school in Fayetteville. During the session, we tested this live. We were talking about how AI tends to be complementary. So I opened up 2 separate AI sessions. This was impromptu, and I did not know what we would see when we did this. So I did something a little weird. I uploaded my dissertation and said something like, I worked really hard on this. What do you think? It came back glowing, strong, thoughtful, well-structured, lots of affirmation. Then, in a completely separate session, I simply said, please critique this dissertation critically. That response was very different. It still acknowledged some strengths, But it also said, this section needs stronger support. This argument feels underdeveloped. This theory could be clarified. And in several places, it was right. Not perfectly right. I disagreed with a couple of points, but it forced me to think. Same document, same tool, different posture. That's thought partnership. And I want to be very clear about something. Using AI does not make you less authentic. It does not make you lazy. It does not make you unprofessional. We are allowed to use the tools. There's a difference between mechanical help and intellectual surrender. If I decide to email a parent about their student's growth and I ask AI to help phrase it professionally, I made the decision, I evaluated the student, I determined the tone, AI helped with the wording. That's efficiency. But if I ask AI what should I believe or what my judgment should be, that's different. AI can help me say what I believe. It should not decide what I believe. That's the line. The same applies to lesson planning. If AI drafts a lesson template, but you understand it, you execute it well, and you adapt in real time, thinking happened. Execution reveals ownership. If AI drafts something that you couldn't explain why it works, thinking didn't happen. The issue isn't whether AI touched the document. The issue is whether you touched the thinking. A couple of years ago, I moved away from traditional writing assignments in many cases. Not because writing doesn't matter. It does. It's extremely important. But because I could no longer assume writing equaled thinking. If I wasn't hovering, many students were using AI to replace effort. So I shifted to presentations, because if you stand up and explain something, I can tell you understand it. I don't care how the slides were made. I care whether you can defend the ideas. The artifact is temporary. Ownership is what matters. What keeps me thinking about this isn't fear of AI. It's thinking stamina, the ability to sit with an idea, to wrestle, to form an opinion, to sustain thought long enough to build something meaningful. Convenience is powerful. If we're not careful, convenience will replace endurance, and endurance builds thinkers. So here's the full circle. AI is not the enemy. Passivity is. If students use AI to avoid thinking, we lose something important. If students use AI to deepen thinking, we gain something powerful. If teachers use AI to skip judgment, we erode professionalism. If teachers use AI to sharpen judgment, we grow. The difference is ownership. That's what we protect. And that's what I mean when I say use AI as a thought partner, not a substitute. I will see you next Tuesday.